It's a mere arrogance. And I don't want to write it. For many years, people were forcing him, you please write your experiences, you please write your experiences, people will get inspiration. But he was always denying, For decades, he was denying. But one day, he got a call from his best friend, a very dear friend, Bhakti Tirtha Swami. Bhakti Tirtha Swami is African American born, and he was a renowned spiritual leader. He was mentor of Nelson Mandela. He was mentor of Muhammad Ali, a famous wrestler. And he called Raghunath Swami that, my dear friend, I'm dying. I'm suffering from melanoma cancer. And these are my last days on this earth. So you please come. I want to die in your arms. So Raghunath Swami went there. Bhakti Tirtha Swami was in Pennsylvania state in USA. He went there. He spent few days with him. And one day what happened, Raghunath Swami was on a bedside and he was lying on a bed. Bhakti Tirtha Swami held Raghunath Swami's hand and he said, I want a promise from you. See, I am dying and I wish you write your book. You please write your book. And you have to keep a promise to a dying person. And as a promise to his dearest friend, he has to write this book. Within 2-3 days, Bhakti Tirtha Swami passed away, and then he has started writing this book in year 2005. This is the book. This book is also available in Gujarati here, Pele Parno Pravas by Tulsi Publication. This book is translated in many languages in India. About this book, this is international bestseller book. It was published in year 2010 by Mandala Publication, California. First time it came in India in year 2013 by Jaico Publication, and now we have a 7th impression of this book available. There are 4 chapters in this book. The first chapter is The Journey to the East, second, Mother India, third, Himalayan Pilgrimage, and fourth one is Forest of Grace. Raghunath Swami's name is Richard Slavin. He born in suburbs of Chicago in year 1950. There were 3 brothers in family. He was the second child of his parents. Daily meditation was part of his life right from the childhood. And he participated in civil rights movements of Martin Luther King during his childhood. And his best friend was Gary Lisch. He born in a Jewish family. And during his childhood, he was having some weird habit. In America, it was totally different. He never used to sit on a table, on a chair while having dinner or lunch. He liked to sit on a floor. And he doesn't like to wear new clothes. So our mother has to wash his clothes 4-5 times so that it becomes older, and then he used to wear that clothes. Whenever his parents brought a new car, he never sit in a new car. And if the parents force him, he used to sit on carpet like in between the car. He doesn't like to sit on a seat. That kind of habit he was having right from his childhood. He was a different child. Education. In 1969, he attended Miami-Dade College in Florida along with his best friend Gary Lisch. Gary was his best friend, a childhood best friend. He studied psychology and humanities, but meditation and music remained his priorities in life. He was very good at playing harmonica. One of his music teacher gifted him harmonica, and he used to keep that harmonica with him all the time. In a pocket ma harmonica rahe. Whenever he felt good, he started playing harmonica. So this is Richard Slavin. The first chapter is Journey to the East. Now, Richard, Gary, they were studying in Florida. One day, one of his friend, Frank, told Gary that let's go for a summer trip to Europe. And Gary called, now I'll say Richard. So Gary called Richard that you have to come with us to Europe. We are going for summer trip. Richard said, my dear friend, I don't have enough money. I can't come. So Gary said, even I don't have money. But Frank is telling that he will take care of our expenses. So you just come. We'll go together. We'll have a fun. So he said, okay. Then somehow Richard convinced his parents, and finally three of them decided to go to Europe tour, Europe trip. So the first place in Europe where they landed was Luxembourg. In the slide you can see the red dotted line, red color dotted line. The first place was this, Luxembourg. So they landed there. In Luxembourg, they slept in their sleeping bags under a tent, and they were so happy. They thought that our dream come true. Finally, we arrived in Europe. We are so happy. Europe is so nice. Everything is so. So that kind of thoughts came in their mind, and they were sleeping under the tent in the sleeping bags. But when in morning, when Frank woke up, what he found? He started shouting, screaming, "Oh my God! Now what will happen? Somebody has stolen my money. Now nothing left. How can we have a Europe trip now?" So he was very much disturbed. So Gary and Richard said, "Don't worry, we will take care of you." Though they were not having money, they were dependent on Frank. So Frank said, "Now I'll go back to my country. I don't want to visit Europe without money." So Frank went back, and Richard and Gary was alone there without money. Now, but they decided that we will see entire Europe and we will hitchhike. Though we don't have money, we'll manage the things. So from Luxembourg, we went to Brussels, then Amsterdam, then London, then Switzerland, Rome, Naples, Pompeii, and all these places they have hitchhiked. Hitchhike means હાથ બતાવવાનો જે પણ ઊભું રહે ટ્રક બસ એની પાછળ બેસો જ્યાં તમારો હોસ્ટ ઉતારે ત્યાં ઉતરી જવાનું તમને જે પણ જમવાનું મળે એ જમી લેવાનું આવી લાઈફ એ લોકોએ ડિસાઇડ કરી વી વિલ hitchhike like this. So and sleeping, like sometimes they were sleeping under the tree somewhere, sometimes beside the river bank, sometimes under the basement of churches. So wherever they get place, they were sleeping. So that kind of journey they were doing. And one day, by hitchhiking through all the places, they reached to Athens. And in Athens, the situation was a bit different. Here, it was not possible for them to sleep under the tree or basement like that. The rules were different. Police were waving guns all the time. So they have to compulsory sleep inside. They have to find a cheaper hostel. But they didn't have money. So what they did, they decided to sell their blood to make money because they didn't have money. So they went to one hospital, government hospital, they donated their blood, and they were waiting outside. And what happened, when they were waiting outside, they found 3 more guys in the same situation. They also donated their blood and they were waiting for money. And one guy was having guitar, another was having a violin, the third one was having some another instrument. And Gary was very good at playing harmonica. So all of them decided to make a music band. You can see in the picture. So they make a temporary music band and they started walking on the streets of Athens. And the first person who is holding hat is a Gary. Second is Richard, the author of this book, and 3 other guys. They were playing so nice music that people started gathering there. Children were dancing, ladies were so happy. Everybody started gathering there, and Gary was collecting money in his hat. And by the evening time, they could be able to collect a good amount of money. And they distributed amongst each other, and finally, they got a cheaper hostel. Next day, they become so popular in Athens. So when they came on our streets, people started gathering again. So they were playing music, and everybody were very happy. But suddenly, everyone disappeared, and police came. Police arrested all of them, and they put them in a jail. And પછી થોડી વોર્નિંગ આપીને એ લોકોને છોડી મૂકે છે પણ બધા જ પૈસા લઈ લે છે પોલીસ એટલે એ લોકો જે પોઝિશનમાં they were earlier, they came back to the same situation. So this was an event in Athens, and then from Athens they went to a beautiful island, Isle of Crete. It's a beautiful island. Author has described very nice in the book about this island. Actually, Gary and Richard was having a spiritual quest. They wanted a spiritual answer. Every day they were doing meditation, pray to the God. So Isle of Crete they found is the best place for meditation and spiritual practices. So in Isle of Crete there were mountains, caves, a beautiful seashore. Everything was very nice. So they decided to stay in one cave, and every day in the morning time, Richard used to sit on a hilltop and Gary used to sit on a seesaw for meditation. Whole day they were fasting, and in evening both of them come back to the cave and they share their experiences, their realizations. That was the practice every day. They stayed there for a few days, for around 10-15 days. But one day something amazing happened. Richard was doing meditation, and during evening time, Richard listened a commanding voice in his meditation. Richard listened a voice called "Go to India." And when he listened this voice, this word, he felt, why India? I don't know anything about India. India is too far from here. And why India? Such kind of questions arises in his mind. But he believed that this is the call of God. This is answer of my prayer. And I will go to India. He make up his mind. Though I don't have money, I have nothing, but I will go to India. Then he came back to the cave in the evening. When he came inside the cave, Gary was doing meditation. And he woke up Gary. Come on Gary, listen, something happened to me today. So Gary said, really? Something happened with me too today. Gary was doing meditation and he also listened some voice. So Richard asked, what did you listen? So Gary said, I listen, go to Israel. Go to Israel. That's what Gary listened. So Richard becomes so sad. What? You please repeat. What did you listen? He said, go to Israel. And without asking Richard anything, Gary said, you two listen that now. Let's come with me. We will go Israel together. But Richard said, please listen me. I listen the words, go to India, not Israel. So when Gary heard this word, he said, are you mad? How will you go there? You don't have money to hitchhike to the Middle East. It's not so easy. You have to pass through the dangerous country like Afghanistan, Pakistan. How will you go there, man? This is not spiritual quest. This is suicide. Better you come with me to Israel. We'll make some money and together we'll go to Israel. India. But Richard was so firm in his decision. He said, no, I'll go. I believe that this is a call of God, this is answer of my prayer, and I will go to India at any cost. So, मंजिल मिलेगी, भटक कर ही सही. मंजिल मिलेगी, भटक कर ही सही. गुमराह तो वो है जो घर से निकले ही नहीं. He was so firm in his decision. No, I will go to India at any cost. So next day, in the morning, Gary એને બસ સ્ટોપ પર છોડવા માટે આવે છે. બંને લાઈફ લોંગ ફ્રેન્ડ્સ છે, ચાઇલ્ડહુડ ફ્રેન્ડ છે. બંને જણા એકબીજાને ભેટે છે, રડે છે, આંખમાં આંસુ છે, ભાવુક થઈ જાય છે. They don't know where they are going. એમની મંઝિલ ક્યાં લઈ જશે, ઇઝરાયલમાં ગેરી પહોંચી શકશે કે નહીં, કે રિચાર્ડ ઇન્ડિયામાં કેવી રીતે આવશે. They didn't know anything. But it look confirm છે કે we will go there and we will follow our heart. તો ત્યાંથી નીકળી જાય છે. And he went to Greece for his visa process. He got a visa, and there people warned him to Richard, don't go, you have to pass through the Turkestan, don't go there. At that time some epidemic was going, cholera ke wo koi disease tya hato and people were dying. So he was warned by the Greece people that don't go there, but he said, no, I will go at any cost to India. Finally he passes through the Turkey. In Turkey, he had very bad experiences. कोई murderer gangs ની વચ્ચે ફસાઈ જાય છે, માંડ બચે છે. From there he went to Istanbul, then he passes through the Afghanistan, Kandahar, Kabul, then Peshawar, then Lahore, and finally he arrived the Hussaini-wala border of India in Punjab. આ નામ હું જેટલા ઝડપથી બોલી રહી છું એટલા ઝડપથી ત્યાંથી નીકળી નથી શક્યો. એને ઘણા બધા મોતનો સામનો કર્યો છે, ઘણી બધી જગ્યાએ એની સાથે બહુ જ ખરાબ એક્સપિરિયન્સ થાય છે, પણ છતાંય એ પોતાની હિંમત નથી હારતો. એ જે અંદર કામ છે કે આઈ હેવ ટુ રીચ ઇન્ડિયા, ઇટ્સ માય ડેસ્ટિનેશન, ઇટ્સ માય ગોલ. તો એને વળગી રહે છે. હારતા થાકતા ઘણી બધી તકલીફો સહન કરતા કરતા ફાઇનલી જ્યારે when he reached to હુસૈનીવાલા border, he thought that I have now, my destination is just few steps away. Now I've arrived in India. But પરીક્ષાઓ તો હજુ બાકી હતી. It was not so easy. So when he went to the immigration office, at that time one lady officer was there on duty. Lady officer checked his passport and he checked everything. And she asked him, how much money you have? And he was having nothing. He was having only 26 cents. He produced his money. And that lady officer said, you are rejected. You go back to your country. You can't come to India. You don't have enough money. If you want to come to India, you should have at least $200. You don't have enough money. So એને રિજેક્ટ કરે છે, બહુ નિરાશ થઈ જાય છે. ત્યાંથી જઈને એક ઝાડ નીચે જઈને બેસે છે. એટ દેટ ટાઈમ એને ગેરીની યાદ આવે છે. ગેરી શું કરતો હશે? ઇઝરાયલ પહોંચ્યો હશે કે નહીં? મારા પેરેન્ટ્સ મારી ચિંતા કરતા હશે. હું તો 2.5 monthની પ્રોમિસ કરીને આવ્યો હતો, અત્યારે 6 મહિના થઈ ગયા. 6 months passed for you to come from Europe to the Husainiwala border in India. So he was very sad. But he doesn't give up. હિંમત નથી હતી. ફરીથી જાય છે ઓફિસમાં. And he pleaded that you please allow me, please allow me. But that lady doesn't listen to him. The lady told him that we have enough beggars in India. We don't want one more. Okay, so now you go back, don't waste my time and don't check my patience. ફરીથી એને રિજેક્ટ કરે છે અને કાઢી મૂકે છે. ત્યાં પાછો ઝાડ નીચે જઈને બેસે છે. ફરીથી પ્રેયર કરે છે ભગવાનને કે મારી આ ડેસ્ટિનેશન છે, હું અહીંયા સુધી પહોંચ્યો ને હું શું ઇન્ડિયા સુધી અંદર નહીં આવી શકું એમ. પછી by the evening time the shift changed and instead of a lady officer, one Sardar came there on a duty. So he thought, let me try again. So he came to the immigration office and he pleaded, Sardar, please let me go. And Sardarji said, you are Nushan. I have been warned by my senior officer that don't allow this boy. He is just a Nushan. So you are rejected already. Now I can't do anything for you. You go back to your country. આવું જ્યારે બોલે છે તો રિચાર્ડ પછી ભૂસકે રડવા લાગે છે. એની પોતાની સ્ટોરી કહે છે કે હું અહીંયા સુધી કેવી રીતે પહોંચ્યો. યુરોપથી અહીંયા આવતા આવતા મેં મોતનો સામનો કર્યો છે. I have left everything. I have left everything behind, my parents, all the luxury of America, and I have come here to meet the yogis in Himalaya in your country. You please allow me. સરદાર એ બહુ જ રડતો હોય છે ત્યારે સરદારજીનું પણ હૃદય થોડું પકડે છે, એની આંખમાં પણ આંસુ આવે છે. એન્ડ ફાઇનલી સરદાર stamps his passport and he said, you are welcome to India. And હું તને આશીર્વાદ એના માથા ઉપર હાથ રાખીને કહે છે કે હું તને આશીર્વાદ આપું છું કે તું જે કામ માટે આ દેશમાં આવ્યો છે એ કામ તને મળે. રડતા રડતા રિચાર્ડ એને પ્રોમિસ કરે છે, I promise if you will allow me to India, I will do something good for your people. That is my promise. You please allow me. And Sardar allows him and then he come to the India. From Husainiwala border he went to Firozpur. કોઈક એને ટ્રકમાં લિફ્ટ આપે છે, ત્યાંથી પછી ફિરોઝપુર જાય છે. He was thinking like અત્યાર સુધી તો મેં જે હિચહાઇક કર્યું એ ટ્રકની પાછળ, બસની પાછળ. I have never done a luxurious journey, but first time in Indian Railways I will do some luxurious journey. That kind of thought came in his mind. But when he entered onto the platform of Indian Railways, what he observed, many beggars were there. They were suffering from leprosy. Leprosy વાળા બધા દર્દીઓ બધા બેઠા હોય છે, ગરીબ બાળકો હોય છે, એમની આંખમાંથી પાસ નીકળે છે. બધું ઘણું બધું વર્ણન કર્યું છે બુકની અંદર. He saw all this and he was so surprised by looking all this thing. People were spitting on a platform. It was so dirty. But he writes, in spite of all the situation, I saw dozens of people sleeping on a platform peacefully. That was a different thing. Then he and his host were waiting for a train. And when they listened the voice of their announcement of the train, people suddenly started running. એટલે એને એમ થયું કે આ દોડે છે કેમ? ટ્રેનનું અનાઉન્સમેન્ટ થયું તો દોડે છે કેમ? ટ્રેન જેવી આવવા લાગી. So my host also started running and I also started running, but I don't know why I'm running. બધા દોડે છે તો હું પણ દોડવા લાગ્યો સાથે સાથે. Then what I observed, people were jumping inside the train through the window. The moving train. એના માટે તો નવાઈ હતી. He was from America. He never seen such type of situation earlier. So he thought it's very dangerous. How people can do it? But એનો જે હોસ્ટ હતો ઓલરેડી જમ્પ કરીને ટ્રેનમાં આગળ નીકળી જાય છે અને કે રિચાર્ડ કમ ઓન રન અધરવાઇઝ યુ વિલ નોટ ગેટ ચાન્સ ટુ કમ ઇનસાઇડ ધ ટ્રેન યુ હેવ ટુ રન. તો બિચારો દોડે છે પાછળ પાછળ અને he said, I was so afraid, I was so scared how to jump inside the moving train. But somehow મેં ખૂબ હિંમત ભેગી કરી અને કૂદીને ટ્રેનને પકડી લીધી બારી. And I was hanging there. અને ઉપરથી જ્યારે મેં નીચે જોયું તો મોટા મોટા વ્હીલ્સ ટ્રેક ઉપર જઈ રહ્યા છે અને હું ખૂબ ગભરાઈ ગયો. મને એમ થયું કે એવું શું થશે મારું. પણ ફરીથી હિંમત કરીને I squeezed my body and I pulled myself inside the window. And finally I came inside the compartment. And when I come inside the compartment, I read a signboard, maximum capacity 60 people. And I found more than 200 people jam-packed inside the compartment. And બેસવાનો તો કોઈ પ્રશ્ન જ નહોતો, ઊભા રહેવાની જગ્યા મળે એ પણ બહુ વધારે હતું. પછી કહે છે કે when I was looking at the ceiling, what I found, there was a baggage rack, પેલા સ્ટીલના સળિયાવાળો baggage rack હોય છે. People were sitting there also. ત્યાં પણ લોકો સંકોચાઈને આમ સંકળાવીને બેસી ગયા હતા. So I was finding place for myself and he found 3 feet place at one baggage rack. So I climbed up there and I sat there by squeezing my body. And when I looking from there downward side, at that time I felt that I'm at a very luxurious place. At least I found some place to sit over there. And when the train actually stopped on a platform, at that time it was already jam-packed. There was no space for other person. And when train started, what I found, dozens of people were hanging outside. અંદર તો જગ્યા નથી તો બધા ઘણા બધા બહાર પણ લટકતા હતા. આવું એને પહેલી વાર જોયું. So he writes that if you want to travel to the third class compartment of Indian Railway, you have to pay price, but not in terms of money. Everybody was traveling there for free and any પાસે તો પૈસા હતા જ નહીં એટલે એના માટે this was the best option. So from there, from Firozpur, he went to Delhi. In Delhi, he had many experiences. એક કોઈ કોન્ફરન્સની અંદર પણ એ જાય છે, પાર્ટિસિપેટ કરે છે. It was international conference for spiritual conference was there. ત્યાં પણ ઘણા બધા લોકો એને મળે છે. But one day, he was walking through the Connaught Place. Connaught Circus is there in Delhi. So he was walking there and he found a shop, Bijwasi Sons and Painting. એવી એક શોપ હોય છે, એમાં ઘણા બધા પેઇન્ટિંગ હોય છે. Now look at this young man. He was just 19-year-old. He was just 19-year-old. He arrived in India. He doesn't know anything about India. What is Indian language? What is Indian religion? What is food? What is culture? He knew nothing, absolutely nothing. So he wanted one picture for his meditation. Because I told you daily meditation was a part of his life. So he wanted one picture. And out of curiosity, he was looking at the painting and he described the painting in his language. He lifted one painting and he says, I saw a beautiful woman in a painting. She was riding on a lion. She was having 8 arms. In one arm she was having choppers and swords and different weapons. Oh, it's amazing picture, beautiful painting. I've never seen this type of colors in my life earlier. Painting. Then he lifted another painting. What I saw in that painting, a magnificent monkey is flying in the sky and he has a mountain on his head. He has weared a crown. Amazing how a person can fly in the sky. He was so surprised by looking at all this picture. He put that picture and then he lifted another picture and he writes, I saw a fat man. He was having elephant head and that man was sitting on a mouse. Amazing. He was so surprised. So he put that picture, he picked up another picture, he described, I saw a man with 10 heads. Then he put the picture, picked up another picture and he writes, I saw a tranquil yogi. He was in snowy hills. He was doing meditation, serpents on his body, water jet was gushing out from his head, there was a crown in his hand. That kind of narration is there in the book. Because he doesn't know if are the god and goddess of India. And Another picture he described, I saw a handsome blue man. He was riding on a multi-headed serpent below the sea. He was having four arms. There were beautiful ornaments on his body. That kind of pictures he saw, and he put that picture. He wanted one picture for his meditation. Finally, he got attracted toward one picture. What I saw in that picture was a blue boy. He was playing flute. He was having peacock feather in his head. He was so nice. He got attraction, so much attraction towards that picture. A white cow was on the backside, a beautiful river was flowing, and tears came in his eyes. And he kept that picture. And a picture જોઈતું હોય છે. Finally he decided, I will keep this blue boy with me. It fascinates me. એ પૈસા તો હતા નથી એટલે જેટલા પણ પૈસા છે બધા પેલા શોપકીપરને આપે છે. શોપવાળો પણ સમજીને કહે છે જા તું લઈ જા. And for rest of his journey he kept that picture with him. And wherever he whether he was in train or wherever, he was doing meditation of that blue boy. But he doesn't know who is this blue boy. So from Delhi, then from Delhi he went to Haridwar, then Rishikesh. In Rishikesh, in river Ganges, he threw his western clothes. Somebody gave him a robes of sadhu. He wears that robes and permanently he lost his identity as a westerner. He threw his clothes in the river Ganges. He did meditation there for almost a month. Then from Rishikesh he went to a north side in Devprayag. Devprayag, there is a converge of two rivers. બે નદીઓનો સંગમ છે, અલકનંદા and Bhagirathi. So in Devprayag he observed that people are taking bath in a holy river. તો એને પણ થયું કે હું પણ એમાં સ્નાન કરીશ. So he woke up in the morning one day, about 4:30. It was dark that time. And એ જો નદીની અંદર જાય છે, અંધારું હોય છે, કંઈ ખબર નથી પડતી નદીનો ફ્લો કેટલો છે, પ્રવાહ કેટલો છે. એ નદીની અંદર જાય છે સ્નાન કરવા માટે. સડનલી પ્રવાહની સાથે તણાઈ જાય છે. And what he found, somebody grabbed his body. પાછળથી કોઈક પકડે છે and threw him on a river bank. Quick and pakadi and river bank per feki deja. And that man, when he saw that man, he was a giant man. He was a mountain man. And he was having a trident in his hand. Trident means trishul, hatma hoy છે, ડમરૂ હોય છે. He was having a long matted hair. જટા કહીએ છે ને, એ હોય છે. અને એ વ્યક્તિ રિચાર્ડને બચાવે છે, એના માથા પર હાથ રાખે છે, એક મંત્ર બોલે છે, પછી એ બચી જાય છે. And that fellow, the person was Kailash Baba. Kailash Baba he left his home at the age of 15 and he was wandering in the Devprayag's jungle. He was a yogi basically. Kailash Baba was a famous yogi that time. રિચાર્ડને બચાવે છે, રિચાર્ડ એની સાથે જાય છે, ગુફામાં રહે છે એમની સાથે. Kailash Baba taught him many things. How to stay with wild animals, how to adjust, how to bathe. In India, if holy people bathe, people respect them. It's not like in Western. If holy people bathe, people respect them and the holy people bless them. So how to bathe, how to stay, what to eat, what not to eat, which type of plants we can eat, which are poisonous plants, everything he learned from Kailash Baba. And he writes in a book that I learned maximum things from Kailash Baba. And મજાની વાત તો એ હતી કે Richard doesn't know Hindi, not a single word of Hindi, and Kailash Baba doesn't know English. But still they were having a best conversation.